Thank you very much.
A little bit more.
I think that should do it. Just about 1 or 2 tablespoons, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, let's put in a banana. Maybe if you slice a banana, then I'll put some of the mayonnaise in there. Now, most of you probably have these ingredients in your kitchen. And we chose these particular ingredients because all of them have moisturizing properties. And the good thing about this is it's not expensive. And these products will rival any expensive beauty product. Just because it costs more does not mean that it's better for you.
Right. Okay, that's the issue with banana.
Okay, let me help you get it over. Let's see. Just slice it. Drop our banana in. Okay. Now with our molasses, this is one of my favorite ingredients. It's actually, I like this as a single ingredient. And I'll put about a tablespoon's worth, or a little more, maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons.
Yeah, molasses is full of like natural vitamins and stuff that is great for us to take, like teaspoons. My mom used to give me teaspoons and make me take teaspoons as a child, and I didn't like the taste, but it was very healthy.
Very good for you. So we also want to add a tablespoon of vitamin E, or a couple of capsules. If you have a small pen to just puncture the bottom of your vitamin E, that will help you to squeeze it in. Or a safety pin, anything we can use to puncture the end of it. So now that all of our ingredients are in, I'm going to take my knife and just kind of chop this up a little bit so that the blending process will be a little bit easier. Well, Tony, how long would you say something like this you can store and reuse if I don't use all of this mixture the first time?
I would say at the most 3 days.
Okay.
Because of the bananas and the avocados.
I say use it the first day, but the good thing is that you can refrigerate and store it.
Right.
So we're going to just blend it up. It actually smells really good. So now that we're all blended, it's nice and thick, just like a regular conditioner will be.
And it looks so rich.
Doesn't that look
goodness.
yummy? And you put this on, leave it on with the cap for maybe 15 minutes, allow it to penetrate into the cuticle, and you are all ready for natural conditioning. Great. So now we will take, one of the things that I remember from our last live stream is so many of you told me that you had a short natural and you wanted some advice on what to do with short natural hair. So now we have a model joining us that does have a short tapered afro, and we're going to show you really quickly how she gets her style together in less than 15 minutes in the morning. So if you would join me on this side of the room, then we'll style Monique's hair. Let me turn it on. Okay, so Monique is also the co-owner of Natural Resources, and she likes to wear what she calls a lumpy afro. But we're going to first use our Nourish. Just to give the hair some moisture. Monique, do you use aloe gel or do you use honey curls? What product do you use to create this style?
Depending if I wanted to have a little more scope and last a little bit longer, I use the aloe. If I like it to be a little more touchable and a little softer, usually I use the honey curls.
Okay.
But usually I start off with the Nourish to hydrate, to soften it, so I don't have to re-wet it or wash it from the beginning to end. So I just use the Nourish to hydrate it, and then go over the ends, twisting kind of like you are now.
And so show us what you do in the morning. I'm going to give you a mirror so that you can see, you can help me create this look. So just taking small sections and coiling just the ends, just the very tips of the hair, will give it lots of fun texture.
You can give it a lot of texture just doing this for like 10 minutes or so.
She gets tons of compliments. People ask her all day how to schedule this style, but the truth is that this is not something that we would typically schedule in the salon. When you see this type of look, it's generally uncomplicated. You know, a friend of mine told me once that he likes to take a wet towel to create this look, just rolling it into circles. If your hair is shorter, that actually works great. Okay, so while Monique is finishing this up, I'm going to grab your questions and get prepared to answer some of your questions. I hope you all have been submitting some questions for me to answer for you. And as you can see, this is a very simple style. You don't need much. You just need your Nourish conditioning spray, gloss for shine. She used the light gel, aloe gel, or honey curls, either one of those gels. And for all of these, the products that we're talking about are all Earth Nectar products and products that you can find on our website at naturalresourcessalon.com. And for the most part, Monique's style is complete. So I'll turn you back now so that you can see her finished look. Great.
A little more defining here and there, but you get the ultimate look from just twirling with your fingertips.
Very simple, and she's ready to go. Monique, thank you so much. Okay, so now we'll just take a few minutes to answer some of your questions. Give me just a moment. I want to log in so that I can find questions. Send your questions in to our Twitter at natural_Mecca. You can send your questions in for the next live stream event to our Facebook at Natural Resources Salon on Facebook. But our first question is from Cicely in Kansas. What can she do to spice up her TWA? Cicely, I always recommend if you have a new afro, try different colors and shapes. Cutting your hair into a different shape does not mean that your hair won't grow out evenly. Sometimes when you have with a short cut, we find it difficult to find our femininity in those styles. And so my opinion or suggestion would be taper the sides just a little bit, taper the back just a little bit lower, not too short, but just enough to give it a very feminine shape and possibly a rinse or even a henna for a new color. So keep in mind when you're using henna that you can't follow henna with all types of colors. Colors especially that have metallic properties you can't use in color over henna. So those are just things to keep in mind, and I hope I've helped answer your question. We have another question from Barbara in Atlanta, and she wants to know how long can she wear extensions in transition. My recommendation is that if your hair is in transition, as we know, you already have two different textures, and as your hair grows out, the two different textures, where they meet is very fragile. And so you don't want to have to manipulate the hair every day. And so it is a good idea to wear styles that protect your hair. And when I say protective styling, I just mean styles that don't require you to do maintenance every day. If you're wearing extensions, 2.5 months is probably the longest time you should wear extensions in transition. simply because the removal of the extension is where you want to be safest, and that's where we lose hair. So you don't want to leave it in too long. You don't want to give the hair an opportunity to tangle too much. I'd recommend that you go in to see your stylist at the end of the transition period or at the end of the extension period so that she can remove the extensions for you. We'll take one more question. Can I lighten my hair after dyeing it black to brown? That's a question from Monica in Dallas. Yes, you can. You can lighten your hair, but the process is a bit different. Keep in mind that if you decide that you want to wear, for example, the color in my hair, maybe about 6 to 7 months ago, maybe closer to a year ago, I did have a darker color in my hair. As you can see, I lightened my hair, but the ends of the hair stayed dark, but that's because I didn't remove the black. And so once you put a dark color in your hair, you have to remove that color before you can add a lighter color. If you add a lighter color, your roots will probably lighten, but the ends of the hair won't. So, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, great. We have one more question. Should hair be curly or straight when trimming? Thank you so much for that question. I don't recommend, if you have natural hair, flat ironing your hair for a trim. It's not necessary. I've had a lot of customers come into Natural Resources that have actually straightened their hair after 1 year of transitioning and ended up losing quite a bit of curl. And so if you're not interested in flat ironing your hair for the purpose of wearing it as a style, certainly don't do it just to trim your hair. A simple blow dry is enough to see the ends. The only thing that needs to happen to cut curly hair is you don't need to pull and put tension on the curl, because once the curl snaps back, if it's curly, then you can't see where you trimmed. So yes, it is necessary to blow the hair out so that you can trim the ends, but no, it is not necessary to flat iron your hair. How can I prevent my hair from drying out in the winter? With natural hair, you should always use natural moisturizers, and that's all through the year, because our hair is just naturally, the oil on your scalp doesn't travel down the shaft of your hair, so we always need extra moisture. But in the winter time, doing things like the ultimate hair smoothie that we just showed you how to make, again, you can go to our Facebook to find that recipe, but those type of products will work great during the winter time. Doing masks for your hair like that one, leaving it on for 15 minutes with a plastic cap, will actually work great. You can continue to send your questions in for our next segment. Our next segment in January to natural_Mecca. That's our Twitter account. And you can also send in your questions to our Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us for this Naturally Live segment. And we hope you'll tune in for our next segment in January. And stay natural and take good care of yourself.